So Obama signed a law last week changing the language of certain legislation from the past. The law says that previous bills are, quote, amended by striking a Negro, Puerto Rican, American Indian, Eskimo, Oriental, or Alouette. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. I never heard that last one. And inserting Asian American, Native Hawaiian, a Pacific Islander, African American, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Native American, or an Alaskan Native. Okay, so there's a few things to say about this. First of all, they said we're striking Puerto Rican and adding Puerto Rican, which makes no sense. Spelt the same and everything, so I don't know what they mean by that. But outside of that weird thing, do I generally support this? So is this a step in the right direction? I'd say yeah. I mean, why not get rid of Negro? I didn't know this until fairly recently, but Eskimo is apparently a slur in that area. If you call an Eskimo, it's a slur. The correct terminology is Inuit, and I think, is that what they changed it to here? Or they changed it to Alaskan Native? I guess that's what they changed it to. So, yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction. I think it's good. But at the same time, I do want to be clear about something here. Like, yeah, don't call Native Americans Indians. And I think now they've moved the goalposts again to Indigenous Americans. But they're going with Native American here. But as a general rule, I want to tell people on the left, you gotta be careful with this language policing. So again, I support this move because most of these are just obvious. Like, you know, the Oriental, that's been considered a slur for a while now. So, okay, yeah, what's the harm in getting rid of it? But oftentimes I'll see people get, like, shamed for saying things that were just recently changed. Like, there they lose me. Like, for example, it used to be illegal alien, is what people called it. By the way, nobody had any clue that that was eventually to become a slur. Everybody just said it because it was just the terminology. Oh, an illegal alien came in the country. Then people said, okay, well, wait a second. Alien is literally to say, hey, this is foreign, and it dehumanizes the person. And they come up with some sort of argument, and they say, now we're going to move the goalposts to illegal immigrant. So acknowledge the person's humanity. It's an immigrant, not an alien, but they're breaking the law, so it's an illegal immigrant. But then they changed it again from illegal immigrant to undocumented immigrant to say, well, only an action can be illegal. A person is not illegal, so then it's undocumented immigrant. But then here's the thing that drives me crazy is that we all know that in 2 years that'll be changed. So they keep changing the terminology and they keep moving the goalposts. And then every time, if you're not immediately keeping up like that, people go, you're a bad person. What are you? Oh my God, you're so insensitive. You're so insensitive. You're so wrong. You're so bigoted. Yeah, but wait, that's not necessarily true. And furthermore, some of the changes I don't even agree with. Some of them don't even make sense. Like, for example, I still use the term retarded, and people get mad at me like, oh, well, that's insensitive. That's below you. How dare you do that? Piss off, because retarded means literally to slow down, to retard something. So if you say somebody is retarded, you're saying they are slow to catch on to X, whatever the thing in the conversation is. That's why I use it. So sometimes political correctness, okay, we all get it, and that is a step in the right direction. Stop calling people Negro in official U.S. government documents. You know, stop using other things that are just widely understood to be slurs or to be wrong. Say, hey, Indians, that's just not correct. I get all that. But at the same time, pump your brakes a little bit if you think that changing the terminology every 2 years makes sense, and pump your brakes if you think that's the end-all be-all in judging somebody's character, because it's not. And this is the identity politics focused left, which I, on many issues, just don't agree with, because they don't really care about policy substance. They don't really care about universal health care, universal education, raising the minimum wage, stopping foreign wars. They might passively support those things, but when you put all of your language and all of your effort on language policing, well, after a while, you look like a silly person. So there are some things that I support in changing the language because it's just common sense and it's just for accuracy's sake and it's just so clear that we need to move in that direction. But then other things do the language police and the PC police sometimes go overboard? And do they overvalue using the proper terminology and language as a sign of being a good person? Yes, they do that. And I would go as far as to say, on some things, enough. Like, if they try to change undocumented immigrant again, because then eventually that becomes something like, oh, you're being insensitive, I will tell them to fuck off. They almost lost me. They had me from illegal alien to illegal immigrant. Like, I was on board with that change because the reasoning made sense. But you almost lost me with illegal immigrant to undocumented immigrant. Now, if you change undocumented immigrant, I'm going to tell you to fuck off, because enough with the changing of the language. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. And to get overly PC, actually what you're doing is language policing at the expense of caring about other issues which should matter more to you morally.